So it's September 22nd, 1960. It's an election year. We're in South Dakota, and John Kennedy is speaking to a group of farmers when he says, for the farmers, the only man in our economy must buy everything that they buy at retail, sell everything that they sell at wholesale, and pay the freight both ways. Now, we have a similar story that we tell around the offices of Farmobile. I think it really means the same thing. Our founder and CEO, Jason Taji, is in the audience tonight. He comes from farming roots, and when he was a kid, his grandfather used to tell him, Jason, when you grow up, don't become a farmer because the farmer always gets screwed. But today the game is changing, and we think there's a new opportunity for farmers. We stand firmly in the position of the farmer, helping them to collect, to be able to share, and to be able to sell their digital assets. But it's going to be a race, because Big Ag, they're all in on this. They know that digitization of agriculture is in fact occurring. They know it will benefit them if they own the digital content coming out of the fields. But we see some blockers. First of all, there's a lack of incentive at the farm level to get these digital assets out of the cab. And so we want the farmer to be a participant with us in this process and to provide them with that incentive. The second problem is the thumb drive. Still the number one transport vehicle for data leaving a cab somewhere and arriving at somebody's workstation, especially in a rugged environment full of fail points. It just doesn't work. The third problem, mixed fleet incompatibility. Now, for those of you not from the farm, I know that's probably most of this audience, what we have here is a bunch of machines of different brands, different types of machines. This is very common for a farm in America today. And think about these machines as having different operating systems where they can't effectively talk to each other, and this data is not easily communicated. And the fourth problem is trust. In rural America, relationships are everything, values are everything, and we have, as an industry, oversold and underdelivered relative to digital agriculture back to the farm. And so what are we doing? At Farmobile, we are building a company focused on overcoming these objections. We have a small piece of hardware. Think about this as a FitBit for farm equipment. It plugs into the machine's cab, rides with the operator. It can plug into a wide array of different types of machines, different brands of machines, and it's really all about data in one place to the farmer for their benefit. They can experience this information in real time, or they can look up this information historically. The second value is all about sharing and portability of this data. This data that's coming into a central place, we're putting it essentially in a container. It's a field boundary, and it's getting that data out of the system, getting it in the hands of trusted partners. It is very common for most farmers to rely on an agronomist, a crop insurance agent, perhaps a banker, where this relationship is strengthened through having better information about their client. They can provide better services back to the farm. And then the third value is really all about a marketplace and a farmer being able to take their original content, list it in a store. Think about this as iTunes for farm data, where a content creator, a farmer, is able to put their asset into a store, and a third party is able to come in and make offers against that data. And this is where, from both a company standpoint and from a farmer standpoint, Farmobile gets really, really exciting. So if we could say 235-ish million row crop acres in America, if we could get digital content on a quarter of that acres, if we could sell that content for $4 an acre, and I think once we get one buyer, we get many buyers, the numbers get really exciting, they get really big. And that $1 billion you see down there, that's shared with the farmers 50-50. So our incentive structure is completely aligned. We're in it with the farmer. And I just want to close by bringing this back to the farm itself, the farm that you were at. Mr. David Seba, he's in the audience today. He's been a tester for us. He's been an advocate for us. He's been an early adopter. He's been awesome to us. He uses the Farmobile technology, the puck, every day on his farm, helping him to optimize his operation, helping to have the full fleet visibility and helping him to document season over season what's happening on his farm. And he had a really good quote that I like to use when I'm speaking with different audiences, but he said, being out in the fields for however many years, 25, 30 years, and experiencing all of those crop seasons, he has this wealth of information that's not transferable. It's not the best utilization to be able to pass that to future generations. And he's gonna, through digital creations of his fields, be able to pass this, he called it wisdom, from himself to the people that will be farming his fields someday in his family. So awesome testament to Farmobile and to our customers. Thank you, David. Thank you for the rest for being here.
Thanks. With so many people looking for the data that the farmers have, is there going to be an issue with who owns the data going forward?
So absolutely great question. So in the Farmobile system, the farmer, 100% of the time, they own the data. It's their content. When we talk about the data store and making this available for sale, and it's completely a farmer choice. They could participate in just using the data for their own utility, using it for their shared network of trusted advisors, or listing that content in the data store. When they choose to list it in the data store, they're effectively selling, just like the iTunes analogy, a single-use license copy of that information. So any prospective buyer would be getting a single-use license copy of digital content.
Thank you. My question is about customer acquisition. So tell me, how do you get the device into the hands of the farmers? Is there already an appetite for data and they just need a better device, or they need a better data report? Do you have boots on the ground? How do you get customers in?
That's a really good question. So first of all, we have very few boots on the ground. We are primarily working through that's not to say we don't have a couple boots on the ground, spending a lot of time.
I noticed what you were wearing up here, so
Of course. So when we look at the farm data sharing here from the slide, so we know the folks on the right side of the screen, they've felt the pain of data acquisition, and they've made many trips out to the field, out to machines, to take a thumb drive, to plug that in, to drive, some cases 60, 90, 100 miles back to their operation to be able to then use that data for some sort of analysis and services. And so that sharing network, that our reseller network, they felt the pain of that farmer data acquisition. And so that's who we're using to get the relationship with the farmer.
So is this a space that has a lot of competition in it? And how do you make sure that you're, defend your space and, are able to compete in the market?
A super hard question to answer, because it's either like where we're at today in the space with all the big ag and all the more recent ag tech providers, it's either like nobody's our competition or everybody's our competition, because nobody is really standing on the side of the farmer and saying, you own this digital content outright and we want to ROI this for you. But at the same time, everybody within agriculture is racing to be able to digitize farm field acres. Big ag is incentivized to make this happen and really own the content that's coming out of the farm fields. And so I see Climate, which is Monsanto, and John Deere as our two largest competitors, because they're the two most well-capitalized companies working the hardest to digitize acres. But we have a superior collection device than either one of those companies, and we have the value play of standing on the side of the farmer, hoping to empower the reseller and the connected services, and then giving them an opportunity at data sales and a new ROI.